you've tuned into ET now. This is Market Fatafat and I'm Karunya Rao. Along with me is also Soumya Sharma, who will be joining me on the show eventually. There's also Kunal Bothra as well as Sameer Chavan, who will be helping us understand the technicals of the stocks in focus. Let's get started then with stock number one, that is Jet Airways. What Economic Times has reported this morning is that a US company and even a London firm are backing Naresh Goyal's bid in order to re-enter the cockpit. Meanwhile, the situation at the airline has become quite grim as fleet size is down to a meager number of 7. The CEO is seeking a 1,000 crore rupees urgent loan. Pilots have deferred the strike in the meantime. And as far as the names which are likely to aid Naresh Goyal's comeback into Jet are Future Trend Capital as well as RD Partners. Now let's before we move on to other stocks, ahead of the important board meet today at Jet Airways and SBI, ET Now's Utkarsh Chaturvedi interacted with member of Jet's pilot union and engineering staff who have deferred the strike against the airline until further notice. Let's listen in.
Well, the management has said that there is this meeting which is on between the SBI staff, officials and our management, and we are hoping for a positive outcome. We are hoping that SBI releases the funds as soon as possible so that we can see tomorrow, because I don't think we'll last even a day without the funds coming in.
So speaking about at this point of time, sir, no threats of strike or no flying, or when it comes to engineers really not participating?
No, there are no programs of any sort of protest or any sort of strike or disruption of operation. We are cooperating fully with the company and we are seeking help from the Government of India and a consortium of banks to release funds as soon as possible, because if it gets late then probably we will not survive.
Captain, what are the demands as we speak from the management?
Well, the demands are to release salaries, which is regularized salaries, which is very, very important.
By when and how much?
Well, we don't have any figures in mind, but we want some portion of whatever is due to come to us, because without salaries, you cannot expect anybody to work or continue working.
Speaking from the engineers front, sir?
Yeah, survival is an aspect which is important, so salaries are important definitely. We know that there is a financial situation which is actually causing disruption in the provision of salaries on time, but I am still hopeful that things will recover and go back to normal very soon.
Okay, let's move away from Jet and focus on the next big stock to watch out for, and it's Metropolis. Look at the kind of stellar debut that this newbie has made on the Lal Street. Very strong debut. The diagnostic chain listed at a stock at a price of 960 rupees, which is a 9% premium to its issue price of 880 rupees. So stellar debut seen as far as Metropolis is concerned. Do remember that the 1200 crore IPO with a price band of 877 to 880 rupees was subscribed nearly 6 times during the share sale, which opened between April 3rd to 5th. It's an open for sale and the company will not receive any funds raised from the issue. Moving on to Hero Moto. Kunal, how's the chart pattern looking like? What observations would you like to tell us?
So, currently I think many of the auto stocks have been doing pretty well. We've had names like Maruti, Bajaj Auto, which have been doing pretty well. Hero MotoCorp was one stock which was lagging behind quite considerably. The stock is still, I think if I'm not wrong, around 12 or 13% below its long-term averages. It's just about managed to cross the 50-day moving average, which I think is a very important and a key sign that the stock is going through a turnaround process in terms of price revival. And I believe that if this turnaround process is here to stay, the stock can at least claw back to this 200-day moving average. So this drop off or this mean reversion process, which generally happens into a lot of stocks, I think if that happens for Hero MotoCorp, you could see an upside of another 200 to 250 rupees from current levels. So I believe that with the risk reward in favor, Hero MotoCorp could be a good bet at current levels.
Okay, but another stock that we need to bring to the forefront, which is not doing too well in trade, is Infosys. Soumya, what are the kind of reactions coming in from brokerages?
Well, firstly talking about the results, Karunya, the PAT was up on 13% on a sequential basis. The dollar revenue was up by 2.4%, while the margins saw a contraction, and even the FY20 guidance given by the management was also lower. Talking about this development, Credit Suisse on Infosys said that they've downgraded the stock to underperform from neutral. They say that they've cut the Infosys target price to 650 per share from 770 per share. They say that growth picking up but likely to fall short of expectations, and they expect valuation gaps to widen between both TCS and Infosys.
Well, there you have it. Infosys for you down 3.5%. Meanwhile, KEC International from the broader end of the market is looking fairly resilient. Samit, how does the stock look to you?
See, recently we saw good amount of recovery in this stock from lower levels. This was followed by some kind of consolidation. So since last 3 to 4 weeks, this stock has been struggling around its 200-day moving average. But with today's strong bump up, the stock has again managed to surpass this 200-day moving average. And if you look at the overall volume activity, it has risen substantially. It has already crossed its average daily volume. So that suggests that this positive momentum is likely to continue. So this move is likely to extend. The immediate level to watch out for would be around 315, 320. So immediately we expect the stock to head toward those important levels.
Okay, time to get into a break, but before we do that, quickly addressing the flashes at the bottom of your screen. The Supreme Court seeks Rahul Gandhi's response on comments on the Rafale case order. It's an update we're picking up from agencies at this point of time. Do remember, the comment, quote unquote, Chaukidar Chor hai, is something that seems to be got Rahul Gandhi in a bit of a trouble. The Supreme Court was likely to hear BJP's criminal contempt petition against Rahul Gandhi in the Rafale row today, and this seems to be the outcome. They are now seeking a response from the President of Indian National Congress. So with that, let's slip into a break. More stocks lined up on the other side. Stay tuned. Watching Market Fatafat on ET now. Time to talk about a stock from the metal space that's been shining quite brightly. Kunal, the entire metal space has been witnessing a very strong up move in the recent past. Why did you pick out SAIL?
So it's an interesting chart, Karunya, because the stock was forming an inverse head and shoulder pattern, and I think it was a classical pattern because in terms of volumes, in terms of indicators, in terms of price, it was absolutely classical in nature. The right shoulder, the length of the right shoulder, and the length of the right shoulder, left shoulder, I think both of them were exactly similar, so which is why I said it's a classical pattern. Now the stock saw a breakout a few weeks back. It retraced back to its neckline and it's bouncing back yet again. So net I believe that this is a very strong pattern in the making. A retest of the neckline is an indication that the mild consolidation is over and the stock could restart a new uptrend for itself, which is why I believe most of the metal stocks should see a continuation rally from current levels. SAIL is what I've picked up as of now, targets of 63 and stop loss could be kept at 55.
Okay, moving on then to TCS. Soumya, how are the numbers and what is the street verdict on this?
Well, Karunya, talking about first about the Q4 earnings, the PAT was up by over 0.3% on a sequential basis. The dollar revenues grew by 2.8% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. The EBIT margins were pretty much stable at 25.1% for Q4 versus 25.6% in Q3. Well, the revenue growth was continued due to acceleration in banking and financial sector, and it crossed double digits. The management says that they're hungry for acquisitions and they're further eyeing certain acceleration in growth. Talking about it, Morgan Stanley maintains an equal-weight stance at a target price of 1,920 per share. They say that the financial services vertical saw an uptick in growth and digital revenue continued to see strong growth YOY basis. Nomura also is upgrading the stock to neutral, and they're preferring TCS over Infosys with a target price of 1,925 per share. So that's what it seems like a bullish by all brokerages.
All right. Meanwhile, from the broader universe, once again, Bajaj Electricals buzzing away in trade. Samit, what's your view?
See, Karan, in last 1.5 month, the tide has turned upwards for the broader end of the spectrum. A lot of stocks have formed strong base and they are now on the way up. So this is one of those stocks. It looks like it has formed strong base around 440, 460, and in last 2 to 3 weeks it has already rallied quite a lot. Last couple of weeks the stock has been consolidating, but again, with today's strong bump up, it has managed to surpass its recent high. So we expect a continuation of ongoing momentum, wherein this stock can easily head towards 595, 600 over the next few days.
Alright then, moving on to stock number 9, Mastech as well as Majesco. Both of these mid-tier IT companies are in focus. Why that is? Because Mastech is aiming to sell 12% holding in its former subsidiary Majesco by the end of 2019. And what essentially they want to do with all this cash is deploy it for acquisitions. It aims to grow the business fourfold in the medium term. So the cash which they will get as a result of the sale of this 12% stake in its subsidiary, they will deploy it entirely and direct it entirely towards acquisition. Moving away from these two mid-tier firms, mid-tier IT firms, to another name from the mid-cap IT space, and that is Just Dial. Kunal, what's your view on this one?
So it's a high beta stock. The stock goes into very strong volatile trends, and also I think the periods of consolidations also they tend to last longer for these stocks. But now I think on the short-term charts there are a slight bit of positive price patterns getting formed. The stock is at a swing high in terms of the intraday charts, and again the stock has bounced off from its 200 moving average. So I sense that the stock could make a decent comeback from current levels. It's at 600 odd levels. I believe as a high risk trade, you could look at a buy targets of 640 and stop us to be kept at 585.
Okay, moving on from mid-cap IT to mid-cap pharma, Wockhardt is in focus. The stock, however, has cooled off a fair bit from the day's highest point. It still continues to trade with moderate gains. Soumya, what's the update here?
Well, the stock has been gaining for the past 3 sessions. Well, today the stock is in focus since USFDA inspected bioequivalence center located at R&D center in Aurangabad, and the regulator has issued 0 observations in its Form 483. Talking about this, the company said that this outcome would lead approvals of ANDAs in pipeline, for which bioequivalence studies are being or will be done in the said center. So that's what the update coming in from the company.
All right, stock number 12 then, Jindal SAW. Samit, the stock is pretty much resilient today. It's higher by a little over 4%. How are you reading into the stock, into the chart pattern?
See, if you recall, this has been one of the rank outperformers throughout the 2017. However, since then, the stock has significantly underperformed, and in last 3 to 4 months, it has been consolidating in a range. So it is now trading around the lower end of its range. It seems that 200-day moving average is acting as a support level, and for a time being the stock can head towards its higher end of the range. So 95, 98, these are the next level to watch out for, and these are crucial resistance as well. So as of now, I expect this stock to at least head toward this higher resistance of 95 to 98.
Alright, so bullish view coming in on Jindal SAW, stock that's rallying away in trade. With that, we're completely out of time on this edition of Market Fatafat, so it's a wrap. Thank you Samit and Kunal as well as Soumya for joining in.